Hello, this is another video from the Angry Photographer. I want to make a short little video about something that should be obvious, and yet there are innumerable professional photographers, although that term might be connotative rather than denotative, that obey what their camera says and they try to turn everything into flat mush. Your camera hates you. It doesn't matter if it's a D7100, a D810, or a $6,000 D4S, the most expensive Canon, the most expensive Nikon. It doesn't matter. Now, I've talked before about getting out of program mode, or as I've jokingly called it, pussy mode. But not just shooting in aperture priority, or a lot of people said, well, all I'm doing is shooting in manual now. Well, you don't have to go that far. I mean, obviously for detailed shot setup, shooting in all manual, where you control both aperture and shutter, obviously is extremely important. A lot of the pros shoot 60% roughly in aperture priority mode because they want to control their depth of field, and they'll adjust shutter as needed. But the most important thing that you need to understand, that the most expensive camera in the world, and even the really the advanced Sony point and shoots, which are extremely good at matrix metering, they're a little bit better than they used to be years ago, but they're still just as stupid, ultimately. The point being is that you have to get out of the thought of matrix metering. Every camera in the world, okay, is set up, and professionals and amateurs alike are designed to turn everything into even illumination sludge, okay? You have the capacity to spot meter. Why are you not spot metering? Now, you might ruin some shots in the process of your learning curve, but you have to get out of matrix metering. You have to understand, like the shot that I have currently, where I just have some edge illumination on a boring camera here, just as a test example. I have some harsh edge illumination. Everything doesn't have to be what the camera says. Okay, my camera indicates perfect exposure. Everything came out perfect. Well, that's fine, but are you there to think and create an original, beautiful photograph, or are you there to let your camera do everything? I also talked about getting out of using autofocus and zoom all the time. You need to start using what I call Spanish focusing, or as I call it, manual focus. But please, now you need to go around and test yourself, and start sticking your camera and spot metering, and not only thinking about your focus and your composition, but everything doesn't have to be what your camera wants it to be, which is matrix metering. The camera's desire, and professionals are so guilty of this. It's not just amateurs. Let's take a look at these two shots. This is what the camera wants. Okay, it's perfectly illuminated. I've got some harsh edge lighting. Well, that's not what I want. I wanted a different dramatic effect to elicit a certain emotion. Doesn't matter if it is a camera. Okay, this is what I want. Okay? The same reason that, I hate to use this analogy, the same reason that an enticing woman in lingerie is far more sexy than, a totally nude model. And no, I do not have anything to do with pornography. I mean, I am a typical guy, but really not the case. But, better than like a all-naked woman in Hustler magazine. I mean, any person knows, like, where's the mystery? Where's the drama? Where's the intrigue? Where's the poetry of light that I am trying to tell in my photograph? My camera wants this. Fine, screw my camera. Most expensive camera in the world, all it wants to do is this. Now, there are all these other buttons and functions on your camera, and you need to use them. And as I talked before about getting out of program mode, getting into aperture priority, and getting into manual focus, you need to start sticking your camera, and I don't care if you start wasting a lot of shots in the process of doing it, you need to get out of matrix metering. Okay? Start sticking on a tight spot focus, and not only thinking about composition of your photograph, but what you want to expose for. Okay? I don't want everything in my shots. Sometimes I do, to be the best exposure all around. I mean, everybody's all about, oh, high dynamic range, HDR. What if I want some drama and some mystery, A camera's ultimate desire is the pornographic version of an all-naked, buck-naked woman. And what if, you know, as the professional photographer is in denotation, a master not only of composition but of light manipulation, part of the compositional poetry of the photograph that I want to create is not this, which is the camera's gray sludge, but this. I don't need to see everything in the photograph. I've showed you before in other videos some of the beautiful rim lighting. There are a lot of extremely expensive commercial photographs that they're so intriguing. You want to know what's there. There is as much telling in absence as there is in presence. The same way I'm able to decipher what someone really says when I used to interrogate people as paid as a Russian translator. I decipher as much by what they say as by what they don't say. It's the same way with a photograph. I mean, stop letting your camera turn everything into evenly illuminated sludge. There are plenty of times where that's important, but if you're going to excel and expand your capacities as a photographer, you need to start spot metering and say, okay, I'm going to spot meter, and from that I only want to be meter for this specular highlight right over here or on the edge of the lens mount. Okay, if everything else is mostly black, here, this is what I want. So you need, your light meter lies to you. All your light meter tells you is that I want to create everything as evenly illuminated sludge. And you're like, no, I'm going to spot meter for this little spot. This is such a huge novice mistake, but it is also a huge professional photographer's mistake. It is just huge. I mean, especially in the studio where you've got, you know, like I have as well, you've got some awesome strobes and you can just blow the hell out of everything. You can make the background and everything look just perfectly evenly illuminated. I mean, everything, no matter where you stick your stinking light meter, you know, oh, you've got it. You've dialed in your right strobe, you've dialed in your left strobe, and of course on a camera with a pop-up flash or a speed light, there's only so much you could do. It's going to compensate the best way it can. It's going to go, this is the best aperture, this is the best shutter for turning this photograph into gray sludge. No. No, you freaking camera. No. This is what I want. This is the drama that I want. Some of the most enticing portrait photographs you'll see. It's like, oh God, oh my God, another boring photograph with perfect illumination. You know, they use 3 or 4 strobes. The whole photograph is just 100% absolutely freaking equal. You know, it's just ridiculous. It's like eating cornflakes every day, year after year. For God's sakes. And it's so boring. So boring. Okay? I stuck this into spot metering, but I already knew what it was intuitively. I stuck it 1/25 of a second at f5. My camera said no. No, to make that evenly sludge illuminated, we're going to do 1/4 of a second at f4.5, so no. And I told my camera, screw you, okay, because all you want to do is jack every photograph I've got and make it look like this. That is every camera. I don't care if it's the most advanced point and shoot, which I freaking own, by the way, that expensive little bastard, or a $6,000 D4S. Get out of matrix. You want to talk about getting out of pussy mode on your camera. Get out of matrix metering. No, camera, I don't want sludge. I want drama. This is the drama that I want. I'm not interested in creating another boring POS. I want mystery. Oh my God, everything over here is under X. So what? That's the effect I was going for. I'm not trying to mimic illuminative perfection. I mean, Mother Nature doesn't work that way. That's why a lot of the boring, flat portrait photographs. Now, if you like me and you've got some of the really expensive strobes, and you got a lot of them, and you can crank the light out in its perfect studio setting, you know, I can crank out some beautiful flat photographs. You're like, oh, those are so pretty, but they're uninspiring and they're as boring as toilet paper. You know, how about like taking a strobe, sticking it at low power, putting your camera on the tripod, and taking a rim light shot of a portrait? It's like, oh my God, you know, she's had so many portraits done, but this is so intriguing. You know, it's no different than this camera body. Why let your camera turn everything into gray sludge? I hate to repeat I know you people hate it when I repeat myself. I mean, I hate it too. I mean, I got PTSD. But God, this point is so important. Just like I was talking about intimacy before. By the way, there's going to be another video on intimacy directly after this video, part 2 of intimacy. But please, God, please, get out of matrix metering, okay? Get out of pussy mode, okay? Start illuminating for what you want. Well, my camera says that this photograph looks best because everything it's done its best job, even though we got harsh edge lighting here. It's done its best job to illuminate everything over here with the best possible aperture. It's great. Okay, wonderful. This picture sucks. Part of being a professional photographer, compositional expertise. What do you want to say in the poetry of the photograph that you are trying to make? My camera says, no. I tell the camera, go screw yourself. This is what I want. Sticking it in manual, or I'm sticking it in aperture priority. I'll take a meter reading off a specular highlight that I want. I will expose for this tiny spot here instead of the entire image. I don't give a damn if everything over here is black. You know, you need to, everybody's saying, oh, got a high dynamic range, everything's got to be exposed. That's not Mother Nature. Human beings now, they make creamy pictures. You know, they really do. And some of them are really fascinating. A lot of the combined images of high dynamic range shots where you take multiple images and they're actually brought together either in Photoshop or in the camera. They're fascinating, but they also look synthetic and fake because they are. I mean, it's the macaroni and cheese of real food. It's like, oh, well, you know, there's something there, but it doesn't really taste authentic. I know Mother Nature never created this crap, but it's kind of yummy. That's what a lot of the HDR pictures are like. Please, God, I mean, if you want to take anything as a novice mistake, this is actually the biggest mistake that novices make, that professionals also are horribly guilty of. You know, especially in the studio setting. Let's put up 3 strobes. We're going to have a background light. We're going to have a right side light, and then we're going to have a right side light and a left side light. And we're going to pop it, and we're going to blow the crap out of everything, and it's going to be perfect sludge. We're going to have perfect exposure on our background and on our subject, and everything's just going to be awesome. We're going to put a shallow depth of field on there, about f2.8. The background will be nice and creamy, and it'll be the same exposure as the subject. Oh my God. Oh, there are times and places for that. Okay, do you want to imitate everything else, or do you want to create something interesting? Please, the only way you're going to do this experiment. Are you going to wreck some pictures in the process? Oh, hell yes you are. But you will learn damn quick. Damn quick. And you'll actually develop an intuitive sense in a very short period of time. I didn't even have to meter this one. I don't even look at the light meter. I know what it needs to be at due to the illumination and the ISO that I have set. I've got it set at 1600 ISO. No, I had it set at 1200 ISO, excuse me. But I knew exactly what I needed to expose it for. Okay? Your camera hates you. Okay? 1/4 of a second. That's what my camera said. Screw you, camera. I said 1/25 of a second at f5. Okay? Oh my God, look at my histogram. The histogram over here is so much better. That's what my camera shows. Don't care. I care about the photograph and telling the story of the poetry of light, of the image that I'm trying to create that exists in my mind, first and foremost, that I am trying to reproduce here on the SD card through my camera. I'm trying to take what is in my brain and stick it on the SD card. Okay? Your camera doesn't want none of that crap. It wants everything turned into this gray sludge. Okay? Spot meter. Meter for what you want and understand that. Okay? This is a huge mistake. You need to expand your horizons. Maybe you don't want to expand your horizons. You know, that may be something you just don't care about. But if you're going to expand your horizons and get better and make intriguing photographs, I'm not saying this is an intriguing photograph, it's just an example, but you got to do it. Anyway, thanks for watching another video from the Angry Photographer.